believe society has socialized us to conform to a standard single definition of existence. In essence, and sometimes in practice, this makes sense because standardization brings about structure and the type of structure that is measurable. Because who doesn't love measurable data? However, I also believe we have developed a standard definition for success. And what I find interesting is that these particular metrics of success quietly influence or infiltrate our beliefs amongst varying cultures. No matter which culture you come from, the standard for success is mostly the same. So when we think about personal success, this is typically measured by your ability, accumulation, whether this is things evidenced by wealth. This might even be from the point of view of respectability, high esteem, and ultimately privilege. We all want success, and we all dream dreams in the hope that we will manifest this perceived personal success. In this life of almost assigned pathways to success, we set milestones for each other so that we can obtain this particular success. But this doesn't come without some caveats. Allow me to take you on our beautiful standardized journey of life that we all lived. First, we are born, and in this birth, we grow. And as we grow, we obtain knowledge through learnedness, right? And this means that we're going to go get an education of sorts. And yes, it will be a formal education. And you must attend the right institution to do such things. But then, as we move forward in this particular journey, we're met with our first caveat. You now must take this formal education and allow this to particularly get you into a position where you can now get a career, a job, or be thankful if you can even build something. And you're expected to stay in this particular position so that you can accumulate wealth or generate some income, so that you begin to pay for the expenses of this beautiful standard life and essentially secure more comfort and more security. This is our success. But here's caveat number 2. So here we are with caveat number 2, whereby you also have to make some critical decisions after you've accumulated this wealth, this success, this knowledge, this experience. And now it's time whereby, depending on which country you're from or which gender you may be, because this decision may be made for you, where it's now time to get married and have babies. Success. Done. That is the life. That is the standard. That is the practice. However, I wanted to know what goes beyond this journey, because to me, it seems that there's this perpetual journey where after these points in which we've met this, we now have hit this visual of success where it tells us that because we've checked these key measurable things off, now our dreams, our work, our thoughts, our commentary is presumed as valid, relevant, and qualified. Qualification and validation are powerful, yet I struggle between accepting it theoretically and its application practically, because we have a society that is often motivated by hidden biases, where the concept of qualification, acceptability, and perceived success is governed by the beliefs of the powerful majority. Those are a lot of words I just said, but I want to bring it back home. I've personally suffered a tremendous amount of imposter syndrome, especially in my personal career. I've often wondered, where did this particular syndrome begin to rear its ugly head? And I dated it back to when I first, much like you all, I graduated and I had my beautiful degree from my beautiful institution because I was going through this standard process. And I was met of my first of many rejections. Now, how did this rejection go about? I entered into the job market and I believed I met the minimum qualifications, right, for this particular role. And then ultimately, by just meeting the minimum qualifications, I was simply told I was underqualified. So I beefed it up, right? I went out there, I volunteered, I got roles, new jobs, new opportunities, I got networks, I tried to grow my knowledge. And I thought all of these opportunities were going to enhance my capacity to come back and get this said job, this said opportunity once more. That was the big goal, right? Because I wanted this title, I wanted this position. And I come back, and alas, I'm told, now I'm overqualified. Well, darn. I guess 2 MBAs won't do it, huh? So essentially, imagine my shock here. The goalpost for success had been moved again. What I had greatly desired had been simply disseminated right in front of my eyes. Who I was at first was simply not enough. And then now I come back and I'm simply too much. So the millennial in me was screaming, let's make this make sense. Okay? So I had to figure it out. And in my own way, through learning and acquiring skills that I set outside of a standardized process, this helped me to see things differently. It sparked creativity in me in a way that came about in the way I designed my programs, the way I engaged with people, and all of my perceived failures, again, standardized perceived failures, began to fuel what was innovation in me. We can look right here at our own continent, our own country, and bear witness to this tension of the qualified and the underqualified when it comes to thoughts, dreams, or positions. Society blinds us from even seeing the simple market woman who, by all means, is her own accountant, strategist, marketer, brand manager, and to me is a success. But because she's packaged in a way that does not fit the metrics of your standard success, we miss any opportunity for collaboration, value exchange, and once more, we see that innovation is stifled. From an even greater, more macro perspective, as the global world is rushing towards this technologically advanced age, where at some point everyone wants to live in what we call a cashless society, the world has failed to globally celebrate countries right here on this continent that have already done this with the inclusion of financial options for both informal and formal sectors. This now trillion-dollar market that we know as mobile money. My only thought is that the success in which we can celebrate isn't packaged the way that is expected to be. And thus, the only acceptable narrative for our success is the fact that we're still underqualified because we lack infrastructure. Throughout history, we have seen how mistakes, failures, or the unexpected packages, right, are the ones that are sitting outside of society's perceived notion of success. And these have been the things that have changed our societies by far. Our trajectories have gone from what we knew as a standard success of a CEO being a white male in a suit and tie to a young person, sneakers and t-shirt, leading the way to a now digital revolution. And yet and still, we still box people in and discredit and disqualify their contributions, just like the market woman or just like the relevant technology that emerges from the continent. Sometimes the unqualified, those who aren't ready by certain standards, are holding on to something great. It isn't packaged in the expected form or standard, but what if we as a society allowed more room for the path of unqualified dreams? What type of world might we see? We might end up seeing a world where an accomplished judge isn't questioned or asked to provide the definition of a woman. We might see a world where a woman entrepreneur isn't asked to have a male co-founder in order for her to raise money for her venture. We might see a world where a person who has the skills, competencies, and capacity, despite how traditional or non-traditional they have been in acquiring those skills, isn't given an excuse of being unqualified due to their age, gender, or socioeconomic status. We may see greater ideas, we may see greater innovation, we may see greater success without measure. Thank you.